sure you lock your doors at night. This is the story behind the pig mask. Click the plus, drop a like, tag a friend, share with 3, or they'll find you. It's just a casual night when I was 14. I just got out of the shower and was looking outside my window, and I saw someone standing across the street wearing a pig mask. Halloween was last month, so it didn't really make much sense. All they were doing was waving at me. At first, I thought it was my brother or one of his friends, so as soon as I got dressed, I went downstairs and they were sitting on the couch. Completely confused, I asked them if that was them, and they had no idea what I was talking about. Then I heard 3 distinct knocks on the door, and we all freaked out. Went to the kitchen and grabbed a knife, and as soon as I opened the door, there was nothing there. Then opened the screen door and heard a pig squeal, and that was the last I ever saw of him. Shit really freaked me out though. My question to you guys is, what would you have done if this happened to you? Comment down below.
He performed plastic surgery on himself after murdering his teacher. In 2006, 22-year-old British teacher Lindsay Hawker moved to Tokyo to teach English at Chiba University. A year later, 28-year-old student Tetsuya Ichihashi asked Lindsay if he could receive private lessons from her. Lindsay agreed, and they met at a coffee shop a few days later for their first session. At the end of the session, Tetsuya told Lindsay he forgot his money at home and asked her to go back to his place to pick it up and pay her. So that's exactly what they did, and unfortunately, Lindsay never made it out of Tetsuya's apartment. Lindsay was reported missing the next day, so police went to Tetsuya's apartment and saw him escape by foot. When police entered Tetsuya's balcony, they found Lindsay's deceased body in a bath full of sand. Tetsuya then went into hiding for 2 years and a half, and he went to extreme measures to avoid authorities, such as physically changing his appearance himself. This included cutting off the moles from his face with a knife, trimming his lips to make them thinner, and reshaping his nose. All these changes allowed Tetsuya to be undetected for years, but his attempt to alter his appearance even more led to his arrest when a cosmetic doctor became suspicious about his scars and reported him to police. At Tetsuya's trial, he confessed to everything and was sentenced to life in prison.
This is one of the craziest movies I've seen this year, and I promise you've never heard of it. Match is a Tubi original horror movie about a woman who meets this guy on a dating app. But to put it lightly, he is not the person that she thinks he is. Without spoilers, this movie is the worst case scenario of being catfished by someone on a dating app. As in, whatever you think the plot twist is, I can almost guarantee that it's even crazier than that. I know the poster looks kind of bad, but you have to trust me, this movie is the definition of never judge a book by its cover. Match is like Barbarian meets The Hills of Eyes, but even more deranged. There were some things that I saw and some things that I heard in this movie that I never thought that I would see or hear. You can kind of tell that the budget wasn't huge, but I thought most of the practical effects were believable, except for a couple instances. I think once you watch it, you'll know what I mean. The best part about this movie, and also what I love the most about horror as a whole, it's not perfect, but it's wildly creative, and it just wasn't afraid to go there, to cross several lines and push boundaries. It's entertaining, it's bloody, and the story is insane. I will say this because I just have to keep it real. The last like 5 minutes or so kind of ruined the scariness for me. It felt cheesy, and without spoiling the story, I'll tell you why. One of my horror movie pet peeves is one of those things that just irks me is when a movie refers to its own title way too many times. It's kind of like a gotcha at the audience. It's like, we get it, she met this guy on a dating app, they matched, so the movie is called Match. However, I can accept that I'm just being picky. Other than that, if you're looking for a fast-paced and entertaining horror movie that you'll never be able to unsee, then you might like Match on Tubi. But let me know what was your favorite horror movie that you saw this year, and follow for more.
Urban legends from every state. Fingernail Freddy, located in Cumberland, Rhode Island. Here's the story. Back in the 1800s, 3 boys set fire to a cabin in the woods. The cabin belonged to a man named Freddy. At the time, he wasn't home, but his sick daughter was inside and she burned alive. For over a year, nobody saw or heard from Freddy. But then, the boys who started the fire were getting killed one by one. Their throats torn open and their bodies ripped apart. Not long after the murders, he was discovered in a secret cellar under the cabin. He was hung on the spot and supposedly murders anybody who comes there to this day. Some people think that Wes Craven based Freddy Krueger on this legend, but according to my research, that is false. Which state is next?
What would you do in this situation? Okay, so this person was in a hotel room one night, with their door locked, keep in mind. And this random person was trying to break into their room using this tool that is specifically designed to break into people's rooms. And this is why you should always put a towel on your door handle. I promise you, it could save your life. Here's the video.
Celebrities who ruined their faces with surgery. Part 15. Amanda Laura Bynes was born on April 3rd and returned in 1986 in Thousand Oaks, California. From a young age, she showed a special talent for comedy, making her debut on All That, and later shining in her own Nickelodeon show, The Amanda Show. Her charisma made her one of the most successful young actresses of the early 2000s, starring in films such as What a Girl Wants, She's the Man, and Hairspray. However, the pressure of Hollywood and her personal struggles with addiction and mental health led her to an early retirement. Regarding her image, Amanda admitted to undergoing several nose surgeries, mainly to reduce cartilage and improve her breathing, but also for aesthetic reasons. She stated that these operations made her feel more confident in front of the cameras, although the changes sparked media debate about her appearance. Unlike other celebrities, Amanda openly acknowledged her procedures, noting that she did not want the media to use old photos to criticize her. After years of ups and downs and a legal conservatorship process, Amanda remains away from film, focusing on her personal recovery while exploring interests in fashion design and music. Her story reflects the fragility behind early fame and the challenges of reinventing oneself away from the spotlight. People who mocked God. Not even God can sink my ship. God is just a fairy tale.
Things that almost no humans can do, apart from not showing. If you can, then you're bloody weird. This is where you bend your pinky finger without moving your ring finger. And only 5% of humans can actually do this. Do you like this video if you can do it?
This is one of the only real videos that is said to come from the dark web. We don't know who posted it, but in the video, we see a woman completely frozen in terror, curled up in a corner. The only confirmed detail is this: the young woman is somewhere inside the Paris catacombs. If you don't know, under Paris, there is a massive network of tunnels that spreads beneath the entire city. Only a small part is officially open for tourists. The rest is forbidden territory. Long ago, they stored the bones of the dead inside those tunnels. But people eventually discovered illegal entrances, and thousands started exploring the deeper parts of the catacombs on their own. Unfortunately, for the woman in this video, something with a human shape, but absolutely not human, is walking just a few meters away from her, as if it's searching for her. So what do you think this creature is? And if one day you decide to visit the catacombs, and you run into something like this, you better run. Tell me in the comments what you think it was. Subscribe to me, because maybe we will never see each other again. Good luck!
The boy who disappeared after explaining this.
Imagine that this folder is a dimensional plane. Now, assuming that it is no height and no depth, what would this mean? It would mean that it's a one-dimensional world. So if, hypothetically, an organism was living inside of it, it would only be able to move in a linear path forward and backwards in a straight line. Now, if we go to the second dimension, we have two dimensions. We have width and we have length. So hypothetically, if an organism lived inside of here, then it would be able to move up, down, left, right, and anywhere else in between. And a two-dimensional world is comprised of an infinite series of one-dimensional worlds stacked upon each other. Just as our three-dimensional world, which has depth and length and height, is comprised of an infinite series of two-dimensional worlds. So now that I have stacked many folders upon each other, we have three dimensions. We have depth, we have length, and we have width. Now what happens if you keep going on from here on out? We would have a four-dimensional world.
This is the real Tom and Jerry. The show was comedy. The origin was survival. New York, 1893. Two orphans placed in a home for boys on the Lower East Side. The men who funded it weren't rescuers. They were paying for shows. Neighbors whispered about evenings behind velvet curtains. Whiskey poured, cigars burning, while the boys were forced to fight. The rules were simple: one hunter, one prey. Every round ended with blood on the carpet, teeth spit from swollen mouths, and men cheering louder than the children cried. Their names were Thomas and Jeremiah. They learned that losing fast hurt less than winning slow. That's how children do math when adults place bets. By 1896, both boys were gone. Officials wrote, illness. Servants whispered that their bodies were buried into the foundation before the house was expanded. Workers decades later claimed they found child-sized shackles rusted into beams. The reports disappeared within weeks. The house still stands. Its basement was sealed in 1921, with concrete no permit ever explained. So, when you laugh at the chase on screen, remember, the cartoon only flipped the truth. On paper, the mouse escapes. But in that parlor, under the smoke and the bets, Jeremiah never had a chance. Thomas always caught him, and the audience always applauded.
This was the most dangerous man to have ever stepped foot on Earth, and he was kind of cute. During the 1930s, a man named Hugh Jass was arrested for taking the lives of over 200 people with just his thumb in 1934. He escaped his first prison by flushing himself down the toilet and crawling miles through the sewage system. But 67 days later, he was captured after attempting to apply for a job at the same prison he escaped from. He was then sent to Gilligan's Island Penitentiary, which was the most secure prison in the world, hundreds of miles away from civilization. Hugh was kept in the basement of the prison, isolated from the other prisoners, in fear for their safety. But in the year 1949, the prison was hit by a massive tsunami and was buried underneath the sea. 5 years later, the prison would finally reemerge, and investigators were safe to enter the prison again. They would end up finding the remains of all the prisoners and guards. But when they went down to the basement where Hugh was kept, they would quickly realize they were not as safe as they once thought.
Things almost no humans can do, but I'm not sure, and if you can, then you're bloody weird. This is where you bend your pinky finger like this. And only 5% of humans can actually do this. Try this video if you can do it.
Today I learned that in Ghana, it is very popular to bury someone in a coffin, which represents what they were most known for. For example, if you were a pilot, you would have an airplane coffin. And if you absolutely loved Coca-Cola, you would be buried in a bottle of it. In Ghana, funerals are a celebration for the life that a person has lived. And for this reason, they ditch the regular boring coffins and use coffins to reflect on somebody's passion and what they were most known for. My question to you is, when you die, what kind of coffin would most represent you?
2025 just got even crazier, part 59. So just this month, an elderly man in France put into his GPS the doctor's office and started driving to the doctor's office, which was just 12 miles away. No big deal, right? Well, the man literally drove forever, because he drove all the way through Italy and then drove to Croatia, traveling 1,000 miles, and it drove for nearly 20 hours. And you're probably asking why. Well, when authorities found him, the 85-year-old man blamed it all on his GPS, and apparently prior he's had no cognitive issues. Next, we could potentially be getting a Labubu movie. And yes, I'm being so serious. And the reason why I'm saying this is because news just broke that Sony reportedly acquired the screen rights for the doll. Do you guys remember how much chaos the Minecraft movie caused? Now, imagine when a Labubu movie comes out.
Do you remember the Eugenio Derbez hypnosis incident? Because why did this happen on live TV and no one talks about it anymore? And if you know what I'm talking about, you know that it was very disturbing to watch. It was a time where he got hypnotized and something went entirely wrong. So this all happened in a TV show where the people brought in a professional hypnosist, and it was supposed to be like a harmless act on stage. He was supposed to just, get hypnotized and act like a chicken and blah blah blah, harmless, right? But when it was Eugenio's turn, something was very off. The person literally touches him on the forehead, tells him to relax, and bro, Eugenio literally fell in a trance so quickly. Out of nowhere, he completely changes. He starts shaking, breathing uncontrollably, like kind of weird, and his eyes, like his eyelids, are fluttering. People later said that it didn't look like a hypnosis, it looked like he was trying to fight something. The hypnosis immediately starts to wake him up, he shakes him, the whole crowd is just in shock, and everyone looks very uncomfortable, and when he wakes up, he's just super confused, and I think he starts crying. He tries to act normal and shake it off, like laughing, but we all know that something was wrong. But what do you guys think? If you remember watching this, what do you think really happened to him? Do you think it was like a panic attack or something else?
This is how an octopus squeezes through spaces you'd swear are impossible. It's not magic, it's because they have no bones. The only solid part of their body is a tiny beak. If that fits through a gap, the rest of them slides through like liquid. That's why they escape aquariums all the time. Octopuses are smart and they hate being trapped. If there's even the smallest opening, they'll find it.
What Jesus looked like in different world cultures. America. Israel. China. South Africa. Japan. Ethiopia. Germany. Mexico. India.
Have you seen that creepy video shot by a doctor here in the States? In it, you see a few hospital staff who are on the night shift. The guy who filmed it had said before that the people who stay overnight keep hearing weird noises coming from the ER, the part that's currently closed for renovations. Some employees even started spreading rumors that there's a real ghost in there, so the folks in this video decided to check if that's actually true. In the footage, you can see them carefully walking up to the entrance of the unit. One of the girls says she's getting nervous and thinks she can already hear some strange rustling on the other side of the door. The second girl is behind them, filming on her phone, and she says she's scared too. When they step inside, the first thing that jumps out at them is a creepy doll that somehow ended up right in the middle of the hallway. Everyone's immediate reaction is, where the hell did that come from? At that point, the girls are ready to turn around and leave, but the guy insists they should keep going. And then it happened.
Yes, it did. It did. How did you not see that?
Oh, okay. Ooh.
He ended it all after signing his dream record deal, but why? He had a breakthrough album, millions of streams, he was only 21, his life seemed perfect. So why did he make that choice? The truth is a two-front war that's crazier than you can even imagine. It starts with internet hate, but ends with crushing label pressure. I think I've solved the mystery of why Max and Margella is gone. The first reason is public, but the second reason is a private trap and no one saw it coming. First, the public war. The internet hated him. They called him corny and a net spend clone. In his song Hate Me Too, he literally says, if I were you, I'd hate me too. The hate was getting in his head. But that was only half the problem. Second, the private war. Maxon signed to Columbia Records in early 2025 and got a huge cash advance. He used that money to fund the dream, the lifestyle, the pro music videos, the tour. But here's the trap. His album wasn't a superstar album. It got a cult following, but it allegedly didn't make back the hundreds of thousands the label spent on it. So what happens? In my opinion, he was deep in debt to his label and they weren't giving him more money to try again. He was an artist who wouldn't sell out his vision, trapped in a business that saw him as a failure.
Videos that can't be explained. I bet you can't make it to the last video. This girl was talking to her friend when a ghost came by.
And I had to have surgery, and it was the first time we were apart since I was really little. I mean, now is the first time we've been apart since high school, and I just
Emily!
Did you know TikTok has a secret emoji? If you type the word shout lowercase with the bars around it like this, something crazy happens. This man was saying hi to his pet cat when a shadow figure appears.
Hi, my baby. I love my kitty.
Apparently you can find out who your 5 biggest stalkers are. Just click the share button, click more, and the top 5 people to show up are your stalkers. The man was alone in his bedroom when something wanted to say hi.
Creepy last words people said right before dying. A nice old lady told a CNA that she wanted to wear all white. When asked why, she said the man in black is here. She looked in the corner of the room. The CNA looked, but there was no one there. That's when the nurse came into the room. They asked her to describe what she was seeing, and she said he's in all black, and he's got a top hat on. And then she whispered, and his eyes are red, while her eyes moved across the room to directly behind the CNA, like she was watching him move closer to them. She died later that night, but it was unexpected. That room creeped the nurse and the CNA out for a long time after that. Surgeons said that a man on his deathbed kept repeating, "The body is in the woods, next to the oak tree," over and over again until he passed. The police were notified and they searched some woods behind the man's house, but never found anything. An ER physician had heard many last words from patients, but he said the creepiest one has to be of a man who was on his last breaths as he succumbed to renal failure. He said, "I see a bright light, horses, no eyes," and then he started yelling, "No, no!" At this point he was crashing when he suddenly woke up, looked up, and with his last breath said, "I understand," and then he died.
Scary videos that can't be explained. No one can make it to the last one. This man caught a scary figure in his mirror. Would you rather spend one night in this bathroom or kiss the third person who shows up when you click share and then more? This couple tried to prank their neighbors but ended up attracting something darker.
What are you doing?
Trying to creep up the neighbors. What if there was just like a face right there?
Only 1% of people can do this. No one can completely spell their name one word at a time down in the comments without being interrupted. First person to do so wins. These people claim they found a witch on a mountain. Unexplained videos. I bet none of you can make it to the last video. This girl was apparently possessed by a demon.
Padre Santo, Padre nuestro que estás en los cielos, santificado sea tu nombre, venga tu reino.
By the way, did you know TikTok has a secret emoji? Type scream, lowercase with the bars around it like this, and watch what happens. This man noticed something strange in his house.
So I'm currently home alone, watching mine CTV. Mind you, my masks are right up there. What the f*** is this? So like I said, I'm watching this bullshit. If that's not freaky enough. At midnight, home alone. What's really creeping me out is the fact that there is a mask on my fridge. Here, let me zoom. That's not my mask. My mask is behind me. So I don't know who put that mask here. Bro, what the f***?
Would you rather eat this for dinner or kiss the fourth person who appears when you click share and then the more button? Is this video real or AI?
So you know that lady on the plane that saw something and no one believed her and she was completely freaking out? I made a video about this and you guys were commenting talking about something called the demon face syndrome that came out right around that time. Let's talk about the theory. So the crazy thing is, right after that video went viral, a lot of you guys were connecting it to the fact that there was something called the demon face syndrome. And tell me why this came out literally days after the plane incident came out, which is absolutely weird, right? So demon face syndrome is basically when someone claims to see like another person's face glitch. It's either something weird like a wide smile, their eyes flickering, their face super distorted, you know, looking like a non-human. But here's where it gets creepy. Some people believe that this syndrome is actually like to blame the fact that people see hallucinations. For example, the woman in the plane. They believe that it made it seem like a cover-up for people that experience seeing what they're not supposed to see. Like, honestly, making you feel like they're crazy or you're crazy. However, the timing is super weird because this came out literally days after the plane incident came out. I'm not saying, you know, it can't be a real condition. I'm pretty sure there's something, but this is just a theory of like, it's so odd that right after that, this came out. But what do you guys think?
I thought I had heard about all the worst human experiments, but I was wrong. So in the 1950s, a school for the disabled in New York called the Willowbrook State School was having a hepatitis outbreak. And there was this one really rogue doctor there, Dr. Krugman, who wanted to study the illness more. The only problem was he was having a really hard time getting adult patients to sign up for his hepatitis study. So he decided he was going to target child patients. Also, this is coming from a whole deep dive I just did on the Willowbrook State School. Listen to Heart Starts Pounding wherever you get your podcasts. To do this, Krugman would approach women who were trying to get their children into the Willowbrook State School. He told them that Willowbrook would take care of their disabled child, and there weren't a lot of options for children with disabilities at the time. And if they wanted to skip the line and get into the school, all they had to do was sign their kids up for one of his trials. But what the parents didn't know is after their kids got in, Dr. Krugman would infect each of their children with hepatitis. To do this, he would give each child chocolate milk that was mixed with the feces of an infected child and tell them to drink it very quickly. Of course, he didn't tell the parents this, and he definitely didn't tell the kids this. All in all, 50 children between the ages of 5 and 10 were infected with hepatitis, an illness that didn't have any cure at the time. That wasn't even the worst thing to happen at Willowbrook. Eventually, staff members started going missing, and then kids in the area started going missing as well. And we cover the whole thing in this episode of the Heart Starts Pounding podcast.
I bet you didn't know that the Slender Man forced kids to commit heinous crimes. Slender Man was created in 2009 by Eric Knudsen for an art contest called Something Awful. Eric drew a tall, creepy, slim man and photoshopped the figure in between two young kids. It wasn't long after that the Slender Man went viral and began appearing in videos, photos, and even games such as Minecraft. This made-up creature went as far as influencing young children to do unspeakable things. On May 14, 2014, two Wisconsin girls named Morgan and Anissa stabbed their friend Peyton because they believed that by doing so would please the Slender Man. Peyton was stabbed 19 times but surprisingly survived. That same year, a 13-year-old Ohio girl became obsessed with the Slender Man and attacked her mother with a knife. And not long after, a 14-year-old girl from Florida tried to murder her family after reading about the Slender Man and set her house on fire. But it gets creepier. In 2018, a man went camping, and as he walked through the campsite, he heard noises, so he began recording, and that's when he captured a white faceless skinny figure that looked like Slender Man. To this day, many wonder if the Slender Man was real all along, or was this a made-up internet legend?
People who got married to objects. Amanda Teague. She married to the ghost of pirate. Mario Marcio. He got married to a cheeseburger. Myra Voney Richa Marasas. She married a life-sized ragdoll. Aaron Chervenak. He got married his phone. Pascal Selleck. She got married to her own Dovette.
Hard, but that's why.
Which animal guardian protects your birth month? Listen carefully, because most people have no idea what their birth month really hides. If you were born in September, your guardian is the eagle. Not just a bird of the sky, but a watcher from the heavens. You see what others can't. You sense storms before they come. Your mind is sharp, your focus deadly calm. You were born to rise above confusion and guide others with vision. When life blurs for others, you already see the path ahead. If this feels like your spirit, repost this video as your proof. And if not, drop your birth month in the comments. If you were born in October, your guardian is the tiger. Not just a predator, but a silent ruler of courage and control. You carry a calm power that doesn't need to shout. Your presence commands respect. Your instincts never fail. When others panic, you move with precision. One step, one strike, one victory. The tiger in you doesn't chase. It chooses. If this feels right, repost this video as your sign. And if not, tell me your month below, and let's find your true guardian.